the to see the kind of industries that are opening up.
This is Local Biz Now with Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. Local Biz Now.
You have to determine what is working, what isn't working.
Joe Vagnone is a respected business broker, helping individuals buy and sell businesses. Joe has successfully owned and operated many companies in a variety of industries. This is Local Biz Now. Biz Now, because your business matters.
Yeah, you are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina. We're coming to you from Burner Cigar Studios, home of premium cigars, cigar smokers. I mean spectacular premium cigars and exceptional cigar smokers. Please go by Burners and check them out. Tell them Joe sent you, and your first cigar is on me. Located in Brookdale Village and also in Denver on Highway 16. We hope to inspire, inform, and entertain you, because that's what we do every Monday afternoon here at WSIC 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagnone, and you are listening to Local Biz Now. Now, just in case you don't know why we are the #1 live business show in North Carolina, let me prove it to you. In September, we will have been doing this show for 12 years strong. We have well over 900 and something, I don't know exact, 935 interviews that we have done. We have 744 videos on my sexy YouTube channel. Go to Joe Vagnone, business broker, and check those out. 744. We have 162 subscribers. Now, before you laugh about that, I'm going to tell you what that means, 162 subscribers. Matter of fact, I told my son about it and he laughed at me. So we're going to talk about that in a second. But please go to Joe Vagnone Business Broker and subscribe to our channel. We'd appreciate that. We are live on the book, live on the tube, live on the X, live on the chain. If you don't know Joe Talk, that is, we are Facebook Live, YouTube Live, X Live, and chain. And anywhere you want to get up your podcast, this will be a podcast as well. And we hope to answer your questions. My distinguished leader is monitoring Facebook. I call it the book. She will correct any mistakes that I make. Go there and ask a question, and we'll make sure that we get your question put on the air, which is a good time for me to say everybody needs a Julie. You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. Now, before I introduce my co-host for the month, I wanted to say something about the YouTube subscribers. Because those of you out there that are thinking that the Kardashians got 62,000 subscribers and you making fun of my 162, I wanted to look it up. I wanted to measure what my 162 is like. So I asked the Google. I said, Google, what's the average amount of subscribers for a channel on YouTube? There are 114 million active YouTube channels. Let me say that again. 114 million active YouTube channels. Do you realize that only 50% have less than 73 subscribers? Which means I am, whether you like it or not, at 162 subscribers on the top end of the average. I just want you to be aware of that. And there, so I just wanted you to know that. So that means, okay, Chuck, now you pretty smart fella. So that's 114, and I'm at the above 50 percentile. That's like what? That 55 million. I'm above 55 million channels. Is that a fair statement?
It is, and I'm honored to know it and to know you.
That voice you're hearing that's really making fun of me, even though he said that in a positive way, I can assure you he's making fun of me. And he is my good friend, whether he will admit it or not, and our co-host for the entire month, Chuck Cooper. Chuck is the president and founder of Whitewater Consulting. Most of you should know him. He was back in our Christmas show where he was singing with James Sanders. He's also written a couple of books. Tell everybody, my friend, what is Whitewater Consulting, my friend?
Whitewater Consulting. First of all, Joe, it's great to be with you this afternoon, and it's great to be with you this month. Whitewater Consulting is an HR consulting practice that specializes in serving and supporting small and mid-sized companies across the U.S. And in addition to that, we have, as you mentioned, we've authored 2 books, and it's kind of bookends the life cycle or the journey of an entrepreneur. So we wrote the first book that's really focused in on launching a business and the first 1 to 3 years in the business. Second book is written for the succession planning and exit planning phase. So we are busy right now coaching a lot of business owners across the country.
And for those of you that are listening, there's a reason I really like Chuck, and I call him my friend whether he will accept it or not. Your books are full of research and due diligence. I mean, this just isn't Chuck's opinion in these books. These are exceptional books that you really do a lot of research and due diligence on because you're speaking with your clients and putting all this stuff together. And I encourage people to read both of those books. Remind everybody the books' names and where they can get them. And I'm positive before you finish, Julie will have those links. Oh, she's already done it. Already on Facebook.
We know who the brains of this organization is. She is ahead of the curve for sure.
That's right. My fearless leader.
That's right. So our first book is Unprecedented. And it's really, again, it's unprecedented, building a multi-generational business on trust, respect, and the valuing of people. And then the second book is called The Family Business Blueprint. And that book is it's literally taking everything that we have researched over the last couple of years, putting that into the book and incorporating a process that business owners can actually build their own succession plan through if they will just follow the step-by-step process.
And again, it's not just this Chuck thinks. It really is a lot of detailed information. You know, I wrote a book years ago on how to buy a small business, and I had a lot of my friends tell me, you know, there was a lot of salad and a lot of dessert, but no meat, right?
Okay.
That's the way they titled my book, right? Which is probably the story of my life. But when I read your book, if I had to use that same analogy, there's a lot of meat there. There's a lot of real good how to, where to, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we all of 2023, we interviewed over almost 1,400 business owners across the U.S., and we gathered a lot of information from them, and we took that information and put that into the book. So, you know, it's written with everything that we had. We gave away all of our secrets and all of the information. So, highly encouraged. If you're a business owner, go out and pick up a copy.
And we get back, we're going to talk about that. Right now, I want you to know the Kardashian of Lake Norman, Patrick Reynolds, want to remind me that the Kardashians have 2.2 million subscribers. Let me remind you that Julie has done the math, and Joe Vagnon, Business Broker on YouTube, is top 27th in the world with 162. I have 27 percentile, Chuck.
Again, I bow to you.
We'll be right back. You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. And Julie's been saying, talk about it on the radio, because we pick up one subscriber every week if you just talk about it, right? And so I was curious how low I was at 162. And then when I pulled it up and realized it's less than 73.
I don't think you're going to be challenging Mr. Beast anytime soon, but I think you're doing pretty good.
Oh, well, it wasn't until maybe a year ago that I even knew I had a channel.
Well, I remember. I remember. Yeah, you were just getting started.
That's right.
When I was here in November.
I remember I wanted 20. I can remember begging for 20. I felt lonely. Now, just so you guys know, that far away camera is actually what is watching all of us now on Facebook, just to kind of give you that idea.
Gotcha.
So even though I told you could do nothing for the first half of the show, that's not exactly right. If you pick your nose, someone's going to see it.
Gotcha.
Julie will see it.
Sorry, Julie.
About a minute and a half.
Patrick, got to compare me to the Kardashian. That bothers me. Nobody likes Patrick Reynolds. He got, Joe said, I do. Joe, you don't have to say it out loud.
Oh, yes, he does.
I'm even going to unmute my mic to say that Patrick's a nice guy and you shouldn't pick on him.
All right, 1 minute.
Chuck, you ready to go?
Let's do it. We're going to.
We're going to do this next.
All right, perfect.
You ready? Sure. I mean, like you're not holding your notes, like you think you got this covered.
I think I got it covered.
See, Jeffrey, that's why Julie sent you next to me.
He's a professional. He's got it all down.
Not saying,
Jeffrey, smart people love to be around me. They really, I make them look so much smarter.
30 seconds.
I make them look like geniuses.
He said it, not me.
Julie already singing your praises. Chuck's the best. Yeah. #1 live talk business show in North Carolina. This is Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, where your business matters. I'm here with my friend and co-host for the entire month, Chuck Cooper, president and founder of Whitewater Consulting. Chuck, my friend, thank you for being here, buddy.
It is great to be back.
So we were joking, and you didn't laugh when I said, Julie likes to have me around smart people because it makes you guys look really smart. You didn't laugh at that
I just
joke.
thought you were talking to the guest, not to the
co-host. Thank you, Chuck. It is clear, and if people go and read your books, which, by the way, Julie has that on Facebook, that you can click on those links and get those books. They will realize you are a sharp dude. Now, because you're a sharp dude, you understand, you don't get to sit in that seat and be the co-host without going to the Google and doing something. Now, I know you are the Google. Now, I know that about you, right?
I'm the Chat GPT.
That's right. So what did you bring us that we're going to talk about?
So as I was giving some thought to this, to getting ready for the show today, I heard last week, after getting back into the country, that our president is thinking about taking money that would normally go to Harvard and giving it to trade schools. And so that got me to thinking about the trade, because I'm a huge advocate for those type of jobs and people.
You and I are. We talked about that before.
Absolutely. And so when I think about, so I started doing some research. And so what I found was, depending on the report that I was able to come across this weekend, there are somewhere between 500,000 and 2 million open positions in skilled trades in the U.S. right now. And so you take that along with...
And there's probably close to half that small businesses ready to be purchased by trade operators as well.
Another 40% right now of those skilled trades people are looking to retire in the next the next 4 years.
You did do that research.
I did do some research on that.
I didn't mean to.
You're fine.
I didn't mean to step on you. Okay. So wait. I said half. The official number is 40%. Is that
40%?
Okay.
Correct. So you take those two things and you compare that against. So you look at the opportunity that presents and compare that against going to college and incurring student loan debt and the missed opportunity for earning income. So kids coming out of college today have usually got 37 to 50 to 100,000 in student loans. And the thing that I hear from them all the time is, I can't afford to buy a house. I can't afford to actually move forward in life because of my debt.
That is more real now today than in my lifetime.
And so you take that and look at what the trades option is providing. And so you're able to go and from everything that I could see to get into trades, you're going to spend probably $5,000 or so on tools. And you're going to go to take some classes or maybe do an apprenticeship and actually get paid for the training. So when you look at Gen Z today, we always give them a hard time about, they don't want to work and they're entitled and kind of the same thing we talked about.
You've heard me complain about that.
I've heard you. Absolutely. So what I found is I actually spent a lot of time in the first half of this year talking with high school students and college students about this. And it's not that they are lazy or that they're entitled. It is the fact that they grew up in a period of time where 2008, 2009, the financial crisis really impacted their families. So they lack trust right now with large corporations. They've also seen a lot of the millennial generation go through college, come out with all this debt, and they can't do anything with their life. So they're like, we want to be in charge of our own life.
Right.
And we want to be an entrepreneur.
And that's what they learn. They go to school to learn how to work for somebody else.
Yes.
And they also learn that their entire life in this, quote, security that they just have been described, right, that they get from having a job isn't so secure.
So they're looking at the trades and they're thinking,
right,
I can go and I can get and learn. I can start earning income. I can make 50 to 75K a year and move right on up and create some wealth for myself, as well as get experience. And then in time, I can go out and start my own business. And they've got that autonomy. They've got that flexibility, which is exactly what they're looking for.
And you put all that in detail here for me.
I did.
You did. And so one of the things that I like the most about trades, you could, and I mean, and you know this, tomorrow, go get a job at an HVAC place, a plumbing place, right, electrician place, immediately and know nothing. If they see you walk in with some jeans and a boot and some boots, right? Don't walk in a dress or or suit. That's not going to get you that job, right?
It's not. But you walk in with jeans and you show up.
That's right.
And you commit yourself to working.
They're going to pay you to teach you how to do that. Yeah.
We've missed a great opportunity. And I applaud the kids today for going that route.
Because, when we were growing up, that was the thing to do. And it was cool. It was okay to do. And somewhere along the line, you felt like you were missing out if you didn't go to college.
I was in a position where college was not an option. I was going to college. Whether I was ready for it or whether I wanted to do it or not. And that was just part of the getting better agenda that my family had. It's
funny because I got the story that I've told people for years. I've got an older brother with a master's degree in marketing, and I've got a sister with a master's degree from Boston University, a younger brother with a master's degree from Columbia University. And my older brother, I heard him talking one day to his friends, and I went to Central Piedmont and studied in the hotel restaurant management, and opened up my first restaurant when I was 20 years old. And I didn't know how my brothers and sisters thought about me. I never even gave it any thought, right? But I heard my older brother tell one of his friends, me and my brothers and sisters, we're all going to school to learn how to make money. Joe's out there doing it. Yeah. And that's when I realized, I was ahead of them, very far ahead of them. I had 3 restaurants before any of them got out of school. No debt, because, CPCC was about $3,000 all in, books and everything, right? And I was already investing in real estate, right? Because I was living the life. So, you make a little bit of money and you do something with it. So my life was probably 6-7 years ahead of where my family members were. Simply because, and this was the key, my younger brother said this, who got his master's degree from Columbia University in architecture. And he said, Joe, the best thing you had going for you is you knew what you wanted to do early. And he's right, because I knew at a very early age I wanted to own a restaurant. That really is the key. If you know electric is right, HVAC is right, if you know what interests you, sure, that's the jump start, not go to college. Start moving towards where it is you want to go.
That's true. And that's why I think a lot of students, today coming out of high school, they don't know. They feel like I need to go spend 4 more years and get that degree and maybe spend another 2 more years trying to figure out what is it I like.
I got a theory about that. You tell me what you think. You might have to do some research. This might be a whole new book for you.
All right, let's go.
I believe we as parents have an obligation to make our children work in different places around the home, woodworking, yard work, these areas, so they can see whether some of these things they either have a natural tendency or not, right? You know, like my son is afraid of bees, so getting him in the yard wasn't going to happen, right? Okay, all right, you know, that landscape's out for him, right? You know what I mean? And so I got a theory that we are responsible for what they don't do, because as we were growing up, we were hiring people to do this stuff, or we were doing it ourselves, not teaching our children how to do these things. So in my opinion, you want to start these kids knowing trades, start getting them to do jobs out of the house. And here's the key. This is the course. This is what your book's going to be about. Pay them a fair wage around the house, because the one mistake that our parents made was they didn't let us learn early enough to get our worth for our time and energy and that sort of stuff. So they got to show value for that stuff. Now, I made that up. What do you think about that?
No, I love that. The idea that today, I think the kids that are growing up today, sports has replaced that, and technology has replaced the idea of going out and actually doing lawn care or doing jobs like that. I was fortunate as growing up, because I grew up in a family-owned business, that even though I wasn't directly involved in that business, my parents actually allowed me to set up a business early on when I was in elementary and middle school that carried through college. And I learned a lot. I mean, I learned a lot of life skills just going through that.
You know, we're sitting there talking, and I'm here to tell you that I applied this to my son. Literally, we've got a lot of I live on the lake. Everything's moldy. Every year you're going to get that pressure washer out and clean stuff, right? So that was my son's thing. And the proudest moment in my life when I saw my son take my pressure washer, right, and roll it down the street, knocking on the door. Do you want me to pressure wash? Because that's what I taught him.
Yeah.
And so that trade is, I've sold pressure washing businesses for $500,000-$600,000, So when I see my son walking down the street with the pressure washer, I have a sense of pride.
Absolutely.
And I would have never thought, beating him overhead to make him, clean off the driveway with the pressure washer, that it would turn into how he would see himself making money. But that concept, I do believe, is up to us as parents to get started on that.
Yeah. Obviously, I've raised 3 kids, and they're all out on their own doing their own thing right now. But if I could go back and do things over, I would definitely provide opportunities for them to do that.
Right.
I just believe working with your hands, there's something special about being able to do that and make a living doing that. Again, you may get into it and figure out, this is not for me. I don't enjoy it, or I'm not good at it. I need to go a different route.
Yeah, but in my case, I started with my hands. I'm the guy making sandwiches, right? But then after the 3rd restaurant, I was able to hire people, and I found myself moving to administrative. So you don't have to be working with your hands. If you're going to run that plumbing business, HVAC, you're not going to be in that truck all the time.
Oh, absolutely not.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll introduce our guest. You're not the only smart person in the room today.
We got the smartest person coming up.
You are listening to Chuck Cooper. Go get his books. They are exceptional. We are live on the book, and Julie's got the link to get his books. They are absolutely fantastic. You are listening to Local Biz Now, where your business matters. We'll be right back. Teaching my son. I had no big...
Good first half of the show, gentlemen.
Oh, time to switch,
boy.
guys.
It's time to do the old switcheroo.
No big major plan of mine to teach my son to pressure wash, know. But my son bought his first car and his own dog and 5 or 6 other things through that pressure washing business. And that was him taking the skill set and then applying it. So it's just having them do stuff around the house, because I have friends, because they were well off.
Right.
They didn't have their right. They
Just write a check and pay somebody else to do it.
and I think they're missing on that. They're missing something on that, and that's what we kind of we failed. You know, I mean, in my case, I got lucky. You know, the pressure washer worked.
Right.
I will tell you,
But I see that happening often.
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you, and
And
I've
we might
told
need
this
to get
story.
back to that.
I've told this story a number of times. This healthiest thing that ever happened to me in my life, growing up, as I was starting to get into my teenage years, my mom's thing was, I don't care if you become a doctor or a lawyer or a plumber or a barber, but you will go to school and you will get qualified to do something to support yourself and support your family.
Yeah.
So there was a minimum expectation there, but it wasn't steering me into any one avenue
right.
or anything that I wanted to go.
And the other thing that I've learned is, listen, I can sit here with you two smart guys and say I went to CPCC, but continuing education is invaluable.
We're all lifelong learners.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You have to be.
I have gone back many times, taken many courses, done many things. And matter of fact, it's one of the things I teach Julie and the people that work for me. I pay for and encourage them to continue to learn. And if we're not trying to get better, you know what? I mean, that's it's a problem if you're not trying to get a little bit better. And the problem is, I mean, we need purpose.
Yes, you do.
know, and I don't care how you get that. I don't care if it's a webinar or, you know, I got my brothers and sisters laugh at me because I loved going to the certification class for Harvard. They've got a negotiation course there, and just loved it. And, you know, Joe, you know, taking a certification class at Harvard. You know, my wife bought me a hat. It's funny, right? But I really liked the process of trying to get better, and in my case, because it's what I do for a living, right? You know, and everybody should be doing that in some capacity. And if you are, you will improve. Even if you don't want to. You will. You know, you don't even have to try and you'll get better. You know?
I'm trying to model that to my kids and grandkids right now. Life is it's an ongoing journey of learning and getting better.
But I didn't know that when I was younger. Because I don't like school, right? So I'm not the guy that can sit in that class and let that teacher lecture me. That bothers me, right? I'm not that guy. Yeah, surprise, surprise, Jeffrey. I got a little problem with leadership, you know, authority. Surprise.
I'm glad I was sitting down for that news show. I really am. When you spring that on guests in the future, make sure that they're seated.
But really, when you get to a certain point that you find yourself wanting to learn more, that's the purpose. And I don't know that anybody could have talked me into doing that. Right? My life experience, yes, just had to bring me there.
Yeah. Me writing the book. That was me getting better. Public speaking.
That's right.
That's me getting better.
That's right. That's exactly right.
I may suck at it, but
that's right.
I'm going to get better.
Julie thinks you're excellent.
Okay. I appreciate she is quite the encourager.
Patrick Reynolds, who is the Kardashian of Lake Norman. JoJo, why do you say you like Patrick? You know he's an aggravating guy, don't you? He says, I don't know. I just like him. I don't know. Patrick is listening today, just so you know. I see him coming. Patrick is one of the key hosts for WSIC.
Gotcha.
So when I pick on him, it's like I'm, you know,
friendly rivalry.
I'm stirring up trouble. I'm stirring up trouble is what I'm doing.
30 seconds.
Making life difficult on Justin. I got it.
That's exactly right. You ready? Come on, JoJo. I'm ready to do this.
I know, but I can't make time.
We got to hurry up before Jeffrey changes his mind and leaves. We got to hurry.
5 seconds.
#1 live talk business show in North Carolina, coming to you from WSIC 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. I am Joe Vagno. This is Local Biz Now, and my co-host for the entire month is Chuck Cooper, president and founder of Whitewater Consulting. Chuck, my friend, thank you, buddy, for being here.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I've been picking on you a lot more than I know, because you can tell. I can tell you're warming up. You know how to do this now.
I'm feeling much more comfortable today than I did the first time.
And that's why I started picking on you. The more comfortable you get, the more I pick on you. You understand?
That's great. I bring it on.
Now, I need you to be kind and soft to our next guest. This is only the second time he's been on the show. Julie had to beg him to get him back. You understand? You smart people don't come here. We gotta pull them in. You understand? My guest is Jeffrey. Jeffrey, how do you say your last name?
Banyas.
Banyas.
You got it.
Jeffrey Banyas. He is a licensed patent attorney with McIntosh Law Firm. You know, we are all great admirers of the McIntosh Law Firm in the area. The things that they do in the area, the community that they support is just absolutely phenomenal. And I don't know of a better man on the planet than Bob McIntosh. Thank you, Jeffrey, very much for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
Really appreciate you having me on. Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly about everything you said about Bob. He'll give you the shirt off of his back.
Amen.
Yep.
And smile about it.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. I can remember years ago, I put together this, you can imagine small business people, they always want free advice, right? That's what we do, right?
I get it.
And so I decided, okay, we're going to get free advice. I'm going to put 2 or 3 attorneys together and have a Q&A session. And the first person I called was Bob, thinking I was going to have to beg him. And he said, sure, Joe, no problem.
Yep.
And we sat in a peninsula. We had 200 people in a room, and these small business people could ask him anything they wanted. He sat there for an hour and a half and answered every single question. Just absolutely phenomenal.
I believe it 100%.
Yep. Now it's your turn.
Now it's my turn. I'm on the hot seat now.
Lock him. Hey, do me a favor, Chuck. Lock him in so he can. So, Jeffrey, this is the second time you've been here.
It is.
So I know a little bit more about you than I did the first time we met. So you have sort of a dual office. Am I correct about that? Because when I go to your LinkedIn, Akron, Ohio pops up. So talk a little bit about that process, because that's kind of unique for me to see.
Yeah, so I'm actually of counsel with the McIntosh Law Firm, great law firm that does a lot of different things in the business area, business formation, succession planning, estate planning, litigation, all kinds of different things. And my business partner and I, Ed Sisson, who's back in the home office in the Akron area, Medina, Ohio specifically, he and I have a lot of business down here in North Carolina. Ed himself an inventor and worked for a number of big companies over the years. And one of his connections here locally is Kevin Mall with Hyde Park Storage and Champion Tire and Wheel. And we started coming down here to help with a lot of what Kevin was doing. We got introduced to Bob. Bob was helping with a lot of our intellectual property customers when they needed business services. We were helping with some of Bob's customers whenever they needed trademarks or patents or e-commerce enforcement, whatever it may be. And so we developed this kind of natural friendship, and it turned into this of-counsel relationship. Think of it a little bit like we're a consultant to them.
Right.
It's not a great metaphor, but it's pretty close to what we are.
Well, let me tell you what I know. Yeah. Because I've known Bob for, I'm embarrassed to say, over 22, 23 years. He doesn't bring somebody around unless you're just damn good at what you do. So I know you are good at what you do, or you wouldn't have any association with McIntosh.
A lot of really great attorneys and a lot of really great people there in Davidson.
Yes, I've watched him pick off the best of the best throughout the years. So that says a lot about you. So that being said, let's talk a little bit about your area of expertise, because we have had some people on the show that have described this, actually a private investigator that works in this same field, right? You know what I mean?
I think I know who you're talking about. Would it be Miss Tamara Rabinold?
It sure would be. Absolutely.
We've used her services many times. She's a great friend, and the folks down at Vaudra A+.
Tamara was our co-host a couple of months ago, and she kept getting mad because I couldn't get her company name right. It's a French name, I don't know why she's got to have that French name. If you talk to her, get her to change that name, I'd appreciate that.
I'll see what I can do.
She probably got a patent, don't want to change it.
Trademark, Joe. Trademark.
You just stepped right where I want you to go. Please help us define the differences between those.
Yeah, so the two big types of intellectual property that most people think of are patents and trademarks. Think of trademarks as anything that has to do with your branding, right? So your brand name, Whitewater Consulting, that could be a trademark. I see we've got a logo here with some water over the Whitewater Consulting. That can be a trademark. Things that consumers, your customers, use to identify that those products or those services are coming from you. When we start talking about patents, we're talking about things that are more of inventions. So a new machine, a new chemical manufacturing process. Sometimes it could be a new software process or procedure that you're dealing with. Those are the things that we're dealing with when we're talking about patents.
Is it different if it's an invention compared to an innovation to an invention? Is that am I trying to distinguish different?
You're drawing a fine line there. Invention is technically the term that you would be looking for a patent, because that would be something that meets the legal requirements for a patent, which we're talking about. Is it new? Has anybody done exactly what you done before? Is it not obvious? Is there something close to what you've done that would be obvious to modify that? If there's not, then potentially you've got something that's patentable and can be granted that 20-year limited monopoly on that. Innovation would be something that would be maybe an improvement for your business, but maybe doesn't rise to that level of meeting the patentability requirements.
And the reason why I talk about that is because I've got some friends that will take different technologies that they don't make, but when they put them together, it's providing a level of service, in fact, that is different than the two technologies. And so they ask me, hey, is this something that is mine, or am I still got to give value to the two people that have created the two parts to my whole?
So that's definitely something that you're going to want to have them reach out to a licensed patent attorney, maybe at the Macintosh law firm, to have a discussion about. But it is something that potentially could be patentable. And then, you're also looking at it from the other side too. If there's somebody that has a patent on one of those parts of that process, do you have to be concerned about infringement there? The way I always like to talk to people about patents is, there's this misconception out there, I think.
There's kind of a fear. If small business people don't run straight to you, right?
There's everybody sort of knows that they need an accountant, they need a bookkeeper, they need a CPA, something like that when they start a business. They don't necessarily think about guys like me. But what we're really looking to do is make sure...
Until they get the letter.
Until they get the letter, yeah. And what we're really looking to try to do is make sure that they're protected. So that when they come out with that product, somebody else, their competitor, who's got, maybe a quarter of what they've got invested in it, doesn't reproduce it and go start eating into their market share. Right. That's what we're really looking to try to do. Whether it's patents, trademarks, trade secrets, copyrights, all of it is tools in your toolbox to protect your market share and your revenue.
So we're going to go to break. We come back, you're going to softly walk them through so they can get comfortable with what it looks like to make contact with you and
Absolutely.
What this looks. Let's try and make them a little bit more comfortable in an area that they're uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. If it is Monday afternoon, can you do it, Chuck? Say
Your business matters.
Yeah. We will be back. This is WSIC 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. We'll be right back.
Don't worry about it. Throw the question out
there. But that's what I want to talk about because it literally what you do to small business people is like life insurance. Like they don't. They know they might be good to have key man insurance, right? Yeah. But it's sort of the last thing on their list. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't want to do it until I'm all about something's about to happen, and then I'm going to call you.
Well, and a lot of it's what I'm going to talk about is customer service philosophy, fee structures, responsiveness, all of that kind of stuff. Because you can get from plenty of different patent and trademark attorneys very good representation and very good legal knowledge.
Well,
what sets us apart is the things from a customer service perspective.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Because it happens once every 2 months.
Okay.
You can imagine. I got the small business guy calling me with ideas, right? So they call me. They done invented something. They done come up with something, right?
Yep.
It's nothing but a concept in their mind.
Yeah.
Is that too early for me to send them to you? Because I've always felt uncomfortable.
No.
You know, you call me and give me an idea. First thing I say is, hey, call Jeffrey. Well,
You're better off calling me early, because once that idea is out there on the tube, on the book, released at a trade show, whatever it might be, you got a clock ticking at the patent office.
So the fact that they even said something to me.
Potentially. Now, you're an advisor. You've got confidentiality agreements. That's probably not an issue. But, yeah, you got to be really I mean, look, we've taken stuff from sketches on a napkin and gotten patents off of it. There's not a point where it's too early to get your patent attorney involved.
Interesting.
No.
And how long a process is it to get a patent?
How long do you want it to be? No, it's a reasonable.
See, Chuck, why nobody likes him? That's why nobody likes him. He's got no friends. See,
it's a reasonable question, and we can extend that patent pending period out as long or as short as you kind of want it to be, with some different things we can do at the patent office. But I'll get into that.
I got to get a, what you call that? Not a patent. What's that? Patrick being the Kardashian of Lake Norman. I got to trademark that.
I think the Kardashians are going to oppose that.
I'm gonna be sued already. I'm gonna be sued already.
Deal with that.
10 seconds. Here we go. 5.
Yeah, you are listening to the #1 live talk business show in North Carolina, and I'm already being saved from a lawsuit. But during the break, I was kidding that I was had every intention of putting together some kind of a licensing program for Patrick for his Kardashian of Lake Norman, and Jeffrey started nodding before I even got that out of my head. Don't even think about it, Jeff.
I don't think it's a very good idea, Joe, unless you want to have that letter on your desk from the Kardashians. I think you better stay away from that.
So let me ask a question. Am I in trouble for even calling Patrick that? So I might already be on the edge right there.
Yeah, probably not, but you start trying to trademark that, I think you're going to have some issues.
Sorry, Patrick. We got to come up with something else.
Get back to brainstorming.
Leave it to Jeffrey just to mess me up. Just to mess me up.
Man, all these attorneys just throwing roadblocks in the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So Joe comes up with this great idea, right? He wants to title his good friend Kardashian of Lake Norman, right? He thinks it's a wonderful idea, and he's going to make paper plates and napkins and hats for birthdays for people with that, right? And when should I call you to say, hey, is this a concept in which I feel comfortable with or not? Because obviously, in this case, it's a bad idea, but let's assume it was a better idea. Okay.
You know, it's never too early to call your patent attorney or your trademark attorney. We want to be on the front end. We want to be a part of your business team to advise you going forward, because a lot of the times I can give you the advice like we just talked about right now in 5 minutes.
That saved me.
And keep you, it's like going to the doctors. You know, do you want to exercise and eat healthy and everything like that and avoid the heart attack? Or do you want to pay the doctor to clean you out after you've already had the heart attack? I can guarantee you the one on the back end is going to cost you a lot more time and a lot more money.
So now walk me through the process. I come up with that was a bad idea, but I come up with a good idea.
Yeah.
But But I have nothing. I don't even really have a drawing. I've got just this thing in my mind's eye that I want to design or build. Is that a good time to call you, or is that too early? I'm trying to get a feel for when people call me, when I should send them your way.
So when you should send them my way is as early as possible, because as soon as that idea is out there, and there's always a rush to try to get your great idea. It's your baby. You want it to be out there. You want it to be on the book. You want it to be on...
I want to see it on the shelves
you
in
want
Home
it to be
Depot.
on the Google, on the tube,
That's right.
You want it out there. Once it's out there, you got a clock ticking at the patent office. In a lot of countries, you've already cut off your patentability. Now, here in the U.S., we've got a 1-year grace period in a lot of instances, but you don't really want to have to rely on that. So we try to remove some of the communication barriers when it comes to communication with attorneys and customers. And so a couple of things that we do to try to make sure that you are calling us early. Number one, we're highly responsive. There's still sort of a stigma about attorneys that, they don't call you back. They don't return your email, your text message. You got to hound them and hound them and hound them.
We don't have to worry about that because you're with McIntosh Law Firm. We know better than that.
We don't do that at McIntosh Law
That's
Firm.
Right.
In my personal policy, I'll respond within 24 hours, even if it's just to say, hey, Joe, we're researching your question. We'll have an answer to you by the end of the week. The other thing we do, attorneys are sort of known for billing on an hourly basis. With our patent and trademark work, we bill on a flat fee basis. So there's no cost to you. I'm not punching the clock and starting the billing as soon as I pick up the phone with you. It's a flat fee. It'll be set out in our engagement letter before we ever start drafting the patent application. Here's what the cost is going to look like over the next few months. And so there's no surprises from us from billing's perspective.
And I can't tell you how many clients I have that they're uncomfortable with making that phone call, right? Is there a way to make that easier? What can I say to them to make them feel comfortable? I mean, it sounds like the call is not, it's free. It's a free call to call and ask.
It's a free call. And look, I come from a small business family myself. My parents own a race engine shop back in the Cleveland area. I get what this is all about as a small business person. I've been there. My parents have had some of their, the things that were unique to their shop taken by a customer and had a brand new engine, big block Chevrolet engine built, took it up to a shop in New England closer to them and reverse engineered all of it. Now I wasn't an attorney. I was very young at that time. Didn't know what to do, but I've been in their shoes. So, I can empathize, I can sympathize, and that's the type of person that I want to work with, to try to protect their business, to try to protect their brands, to try to protect their inventions.
So Chuck asked you a question at break, and then you made fun of him. He said, how long does this take? And you said, how long you want it to take. So the truth is, this is a great question, Chuck. So how long does this process take to get something secured?
So the patent process can be a long process, right? The patent office has to go through an examination period. There's going to be a lot of back and forth with the examiner who's going to say, no, we don't think you're patentable because of X. We're going to have to go argue back. That process, we've seen it in some instances take 4, 5, 6 years. There's other things that we can do that can speed up that process. We've had patents granted in 6, 7 months. A lot of the thing you want to do is think strategically about what makes the most sense for your business. Because that entire time that you're going through that back and forth, you can mark your product or your service as patent pending. And there's a deterrent effect that comes along with that. A lot of people will come to me and say, no, don't want to bother with patents because nobody respects them. They just walk all over them anyways. I can guarantee you within 3 months, I will get a call from that same person who told me that. And they'll say, hey, we're thinking about, releasing this new product out there, but we heard we got a competitor that's got a patent out there. What do you think we should do? So wait a minute, let me get this straight now.
Yeah.
Nobody respects patents, but when you hear about there's a patent out there, Oh boy, we're pumping the brakes. We're respecting the heck out of that.
So you just said something which is patent pending. So
Yep.
I don't have to wait 6 years to produce my product.
No.
But-
You shouldn't.
But what if you find out 5 years into it that I can't have that patent? Have I now placed myself in a liability setting?
Not necessarily. And one of the things that we'll do is we're preparing the patent application for filing is we'll do what's called a prior art search. And we'll see what patents are already out there that may already be granted. And if there's something that's, dead nuts on, right on top of what you're doing, we're going to reach out to you and we're going to say, hey, we got to pump the brakes here.
Right.
Because we got a potential liability issue. Not only is this thing not going to be patentable unless you change something about it, well, you got a potential liability issue if you go forward with making this and releasing it into the market. So
And
usually
that is very valuable because
Yeah.
that research might help me tweak 2 things,
Yeah.
and now I'm off running.
And we can help you, design around that patent. All of those types of things strategically from a business perspective. I always like to say, there's plenty of patent attorneys out there that you can spend a lot of money with, and they'll get you a pretty plaque to put on the wall that says you got a patent. And then you're kind of on your own.
That's kind of cool, Chuck. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it is.
But you know what?
Yeah.
There's a lot less expensive art to put on your wall. Just telling you right now, Joe. There's a lot less expensive art to put on your wall.
You caught me, Jeffrey. Okay.
I'm looking to help business owners make money.
Right.
That's going to be one of the first questions that I ask you. How are you going to plan on making money off of this for your business?
So a lot of business owners I talk to, and I'm talking to early stage business owners. They are thinking about a lot of things, but they have a tendency to be very reactive instead of being proactive. So my question to you is, as a small business owner, what are some of the areas where they have liability that you can help them mitigate that liability early on?
3 things that I'll give to you. Number 1 is when you're setting up your branding, which is usually one of the first things that you're going to do, make sure you have a trademark search done to make sure you're clear to use that brand name or that logo, that you're not going to get a cease and desist letter on that. Number 2, whatever your product or service that you're coming out with, it's probably a good idea to go through that process of a patent search like we just talked about. And the third thing, and we haven't talked a lot about copyrights here, but make sure that whatever you're using for promoting your product, your service, that you have the rights to use the copyrights in that, whether that's images you found online, music that's on your website, drawings, clip art, any of those types of things. Make sure you have somebody review the contracts that are in place for that to make sure you have the right to use that, because there are crawlers out there that will find that you're using it. They'll get back to an attorney or a law firm and they'll hit you with a cease and desist letter and demand $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 for improperly using Getty Images, photo, or whoever it might be. And all of a sudden, now you're 2 steps forward in your business and you're 3 steps back because you got liability.
We talk about all this in a negative, but I've got a client years ago that opened up a Mexican restaurant called Holy Guacamole, and he got it properly taken care of like he was supposed to, the trademarks and everything. And I think it was Kraft or something wanted the name and paid him many thousands of dollars.
Yeah, these are
So
assets.
There's an upside to this.
These are assets, and
That's
you
right.
got to treat them that way, the same way you would the equipment or the office space or the computers. And you really got to start thinking of that way when you start thinking about your intellectual property.
Jeffrey, thank you for being here. If somebody wanted to reach you, my friend, how could they reach you?
Jeffrey at McIntoshlawFirm.com, or give us a call at the Macintosh Law Firm.
Macintosh Law Firm can take care of it, and Jeffrey is your man for any kind of licensed patenting information. Jeffrey, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Joe. Well, looking forward to being back sometime.
You got it. Well, listen, obviously Julie likes you, or you wouldn't have got called back the second time.
Thank you,
understand
Julie. Thank you, Julie.
that? He's figuring this out, isn't he, Chuck?
He knows. He knows.
Okay, get ready, Chuck. Get ready. You are listening to Local Biz Now. Say it, Chuck. Say it.
Your business matters.
Yeah.
You'll be ready for co-host here soon.
Jeffrey, that was great, buddy.
We off.